RAGT 22, and I'm super excited because not only is my son JZ Foster here with me, so is Christine Feehan's son Brian Feehan, and they're both amazing authors. So it's going to be a hoot. I'm very excited.
I'm excited too.
I'm very excited. It's
Awesome.
great to be here with both of you guys.
So this is your first time at the event. What do you think?
This event is unbelievable. It's fantastic. I don't know how you did it, but from the volunteers to all the readers, it's one of the nicest events I have ever been to.
Yeah, your mom fits right in because your mom's one of the nicest people I've ever met. And then I meet you, and you're also that nice. Your mom's not so nice.
My mom's super nice.
Like the nicest person in the world.
I've heard that a lot this weekend, which makes me feel really good. So we asked readers if they had questions for you guys, and one of the first questions I thought would be good for both of you. So we'll start with JZ.
Okay.
Because Brian didn't want to go first.
No.
So do you feel pressured to be as good as your mom? Not that your mom is good, but do you feel pressured to be as good as your mom?
Ooh.
No, no, I don't. We don't write the same genre, so I feel like I'm good enough to sell books. So.
And we have a lot of book conversations. Like I have Kathleen the mannequin here this year, who is in the honeymoon cottage as a mannequin, and I've joked with Jay-Z that I know darn well if he wrote a mannequin, it would be so scary. Every time I opened my closet and saw Kathleen, I thought, this needs to be a Jay-Z book, because I just jumped about a foot.
Yeah.
But that's not what I do.
I'm a fairly calm person. I don't get pressure a lot on like most things, so.
I know, you're easy rolling.
Yeah, so.
As a child, he was not. As a child, he was hell on wheels, and he drove me insane because he learned to walk before he knew what no meant. And so, you know, like you'd put a kid in a walker, he would pick his up and run with it. So he was a challenge, but he turned into a
pretty good now.
man. Yeah, he does okay.
Got it
with
all
his
out
walker
early.
now, yeah.
So wait, did you call him Hell on Wheels all the time?
did.
Probably,
And
yeah.
was my nickname.
now he writes Hell on Earth?
Oh, yes, I know. What were the odds? Maybe that's where he got that title. You know, I had that first kid, and he was so good, his older brother. Never gave me, I just thought I was the best mother in the world. And then God says, here you go.
Then I had this crappy one here.
No, he was really good. He was just too strong and too fast for his age. You know, like you'd put him to bed, and all of a sudden you'd hear a thump, and it was him crawling out of his crib at 6 months old, you know, when kids shouldn't be crawling out of cribs.
Well, I'm big and slow now, so it's even out, so.
So were you a challenge for your mother?
I was definitely a challenge. If she was here, she would tell you the story of when I was just a little guy. I climbed up to the top of the tree before I could walk.
Oh, no.
And I was literally at the top and had no idea how to get down. And she had no idea how to get up. I don't know how it got resolved, but it's like one of her favorite stories to tell.
Well, I'm sure she figured it
Yeah.
out because she's amazing. Which leads into the question, do you feel pressured at all? Because you do write in a paranormal romance.
Yeah, I write in the exact same genre, although she's broken into some other genres, but her main genre is paranormal romance. And my first book is, and second book is paranormal romance. And that was easy for me because I just love that genre myself. But no, my mom's too good.
Like, she's
too good of a person.
Yeah.
She's too good of a writer. Like there's no pressure because it's not even an opportunity for me to catch up. So and that makes it really easy. And you know, we get competitive about other things like who can do a puzzle faster, or if we play gin, the card game. You know,
Arm wrestling?
No, because she always wins. Yeah. But no, there's no pressure there. So.
Well, that's good. Had you been reading your mom before you started writing? Or?
Yeah, my mom was one of my first favorite authors. I read so many. In fact, I've had one of the things that really sort of opened my eyes to romance was I had this really hard breakup one time. And I was a young guy. I was maybe like 20, and I had fallen in love with this woman, and it just crushed me when it didn't work out. And I remember I picked up one of my mom's books. I think it was Dark Challenge. It was like 5 or 6 in the series. And I remember I just read it. And I stopped my entire life for 3 days. I called in sick. I did everything that a 20-year-old's not supposed to do. And I just, ate pizza and I just read the book. And somewhere in there, it allowed me to just kind of let go.
It was a vacation from your worries.
Yeah, and I got to escape everything I was feeling that was too much. It was overwhelming. And then I got to read this amazing story. And I think I ended up reading that story 3 times over the years because every time I got really upset, I kind of just ran back to it. And that helped me move on. And no, now I'm here.
Well, so even
Good
though your
medicine.
mom writes romance, she doesn't write sappy romance, and she's always got a lot of. Did I just butcher that? She's always got a lot. She has a lot of action and strong characters and things going on. So it's not just like a cushy romance, you know.
Yeah, her
Plenty to interest a 20-year-old.
her editor always laughs like, okay, how many people did you shoot this time?
Yeah.
You know, like how many is it? It's, you know, she likes things exciting. She loves action movies. I mentioned she's a third-degree black belt. She likes the whole world, and so she tries to put as much of the whole world into it as possible, but it's also about just connections between people. And so, like for example, her Sisters of the Heart series is about these 7 sisters that are up on the coast, and it's beautiful. She just writes beautiful stories, and I couldn't be prouder. And it's also a shining example for what I would like to do, hopefully in my career going forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, Jay-Z and he's independently published, where I'm traditionally published, so the paths don't cross very much.
No.
As far as what, like he'll tell me things that are going on in the indie world that I had no idea about, you know? True?
True. Agreed.
But we still, like, we'll try to talk social media stuff. And,
Yeah.
You know, even that doesn't really seem to connect. very
Different
closely.
connections there too, yeah.
So, you've got Hell on Earth as your newest one out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of the Witch Hunter series,
Yeah.
which one of these days you're going to write more of those because that is my favorite.
Book 3 is already in the process. So.
Sweet. How did I not know
After
that?
these are done, though.
How did I not know that? Okay, so Hell on Earth is your current one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell a little bit about that series?
That is my series Reality Bleed. So Hell on Earth is book 9. It will eventually be a 12-book series, and I broke these down into seasons. So the first 4 books, I've got an omnibus here. Whoa. So this is books 1 through 4. This was season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then season 2 was 5 through 8. Jeez, I gotta do my- That's correct.
Math, yeah.
Yeah, then 9 through 12 would be the last season. They've each got like a different tone. So I'm
But they're
almost done
all
with it.
about the taking over
It's
of...
episodic. Because some people tell me like, whoa, can I jump into book 5? No. You gotta start with book 1. This is like a TV show, so you have to start with the first one. They're episodic. But it's like a sci-fi alternate universe.
I feel like your book should come with a warning, because when I got to the end of first one, it was just like, I don't know, like an anchor pulling me into book 2. The cliffhanger is so good. All you had to do is you just wanted to grab it and start reading right into the next. I was so impressed with what you
appreciate
did. No, I'm serious. It was great.
How much did you pay him for that?
Like $5. I don't know. I'll get them afterward.
I'm really cheap.
It's a good recommendation. So you have Harmony of Fire, and then that'll be out. Unfortunately, wasn't here for this event.
I know, I'm so sorry.
Couldn't twist the editor's arm. But that's the first one. A beautiful cover. I love your cover.
Thank you.
And then the second one is due. You got it already? up for
Yeah, I
pre-order?
sent it in. It's called Harmony of Lies, and it comes out, I think, in February of next year.
Are they tied together?
They are. They're both what we call in the Allison Owens series. And that's a series I plan on making lots and lots of books for.
Nice.
This couple, it's funny, when I first started, I did not plan that. I just wanted to write this story, and the characters are just so,
Speaking to you.
they're so shiny and they're so
Yeah.
vibrant. And I just felt like they deserve it. I've written this is my first book coming out, and I've written other books. But in the other books, it was like, it wasn't ready. And with these two, it was like, I can't leave these guys on the shelf.
Yeah.
They just have too much energy and magic in them. Like, I want them to be read. And with that, the following books are just lining up, and it's fantastic.
Isn't it fun when the writing just comes easy?
Yeah, what's that like?
I don't. Oh, you know, because you said it did with this one.
No,
yeah.
I was just kidding. You're right. Just blew me away.
I'm not going to pay you either. So no, you're very, very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, when sometimes when you're writing and the characters are speaking to you enough that you already know what the next story is going to be.
Yeah.
The writing itself you have to do, and people don't realize how labor heavy that can be sometimes because
Yeah.
everything else goes on hold. But it's really nice when you know what the book is going to be. And
What's your favorite part about writing? I mean, you've been doing it for 20 years. You've been crushing it. I just read your book.
this is my favorite.
It's no, but I mean, truly, it's truly amazing. So, what's your
Well,
favorite
it's probably
part?
the same for your mom, I would bet. But it's getting stories that are crammed in your head out on paper. So
I definitely think that.
yeah, because you've
It,
got
like,
things
haunts
living
you.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah, and getting it out is like, I see one of the questions there is like, which one of your books is your favorite? I'm like, I don't know. I like just getting it out of my head. And like I like the scenes, but getting it out of my head is a big deal because it'll be haunting you there for a while.
Did you ever like have dialogue come at you at night when you should be sleeping?
Yeah, and you put on your phone or something, or write down a notepad.
Make a note because these people are talking when you should be sleeping, you know?
But do you ever wake up and you look at it and you're like, what was that even about? I don't
All,
know.
all the time. What the hell did I write
Yeah, I
down?
don't remember what that was about, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I have found that if I write it down, I generally will remember it. If I don't write it down, then I wake up and thought, oh man, I had a brilliant idea. What was it? I don't know, that's your connection between your brain and your hand. Do you keep notes during the night?
I have a little journal I keep with me all the time, but it's usually a one-word sentence or less.
Yeah, just something to keep that idea that you had.
Yeah, and usually what I want to find is I sort of want to find the core of that idea. You know, it was like, oh, what was I trying to achieve in that? Because dialogue, I love dialogue. Dialogue is like one of my favorite things to write.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, because it's also where you get to really express the personality of that character, you know? And so what I do is I just try to take those gems, and then when I'm actually in front of the keyboard, I look through it right before I write, and then go.
And it gives you a starting point to remind you where you were.
Yeah, and inspiration, because you're like, that was so awesome. So now I'm starting with, this is going to be so awesome.
Right.
Versus, this is a blank page, what am I going to do? Which happens to every writer, you know?
Yeah.
So this question will only apply to Jay-Z, I think, but they want to know how you discovered such an amazing artist for the covers of Reality Bleed.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, I would love to talk about these artists. So these are, I'm going to show these off too.
I'll hold one.
Yeah, thanks. These are Ukrainian artists. And they were making the covers as they were being invaded.
Oh.
So I guess I got the...
That's amazing.
Yeah. I got the first 8 from them, and then, or geez, maybe 9, I don't know. I got most of them from them, but I had to get 3 more or something. And I wrote them and said, how about I just give you the money and you get the cover to me whenever you can? Because I didn't even think they would be able to.
Right.
But I wanted them to get money because they were fleeing Kiev and stuff like
Right.
that. And they said, no, we don't do that. We only get paid after we deliver it to you. I'm like, okay, well, can I just buy them all right now then? So I gave them all the money and they had all the covers to me as they were being attacked.
Man.
And they're still being attacked. Unfortunately, I had to make a cover for Hell on Earth. So I felt a little bit, it was weird. Because they're being attacked and making this cover.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, and they're living through it.
But if they make covers, I'm sure they understand.
And they're the sweetest people
separation.
in the middle of a war.
Right.
They have not changed at all. They're totally sweet. So, yeah.
Well, you had a Ukrainian student too, didn't you? That
I still have a Ukrainian student. Yeah.
that she got rerouted to a.
I've got 2 Ukrainian students right now. I'm teaching English to. Yeah, and they're the sweetest people. She's extremely intelligent. She speaks like 4 languages.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How many languages do you speak?
Just 1,
Yeah.
mostly 1.
He knows
Yeah.
just enough Korean to tell his daughter.
Yeah, I know
to quit.
survival Korean.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know survival Korean. But yeah, she's super intelligent and everything, and I couldn't say enough good things about these people. I recommend to everybody. I've never had a complaint. Like, well, one time they made a cover I didn't like, they started completely over. And no
And then
complaints.
got it right the next time.
And they got it right the next time.
Now with you, I'm
That's
assuming they ran a cover by you and you got to have some input on it.
It was interesting because I'm brand new, so I'm a brand new author, and I like to call it being a freshman. And a freshman with the publishing house, I'm really good at just saying, this is great, and that's it. But in this case, my editor, Cindy, she was amazing. She said, hey, do you have any ideas before we even get started? And I think that was her sort of way of saying, you know, you can have a little bit of input because freshmen don't get input. And so my partner, Michelle, we went together and we went online and we put together a whole group of like inspirational board that we could give the artists department. And
Nice.
in that was actually the model that ended up on the cover.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and Michelle, of course, handled all that. I'm the writer, and she's the brilliant one.
I know, yeah.
And we sent it in, and then we were so touched that that's actually what they went with.
That's
And,
nice
and
because,
of
like
course
you
they-
said, usually don't get that much feedback.
Oh yeah, nothing. And they did an amazing job afterwards, and I couldn't be happier with the
Yeah,
cover.
it's an awesome cover.
Yeah.
The red just sort of pops.
I wish
you
I
know.
had it here for you.
Yeah. Well,
Take
we'll
our
show
word
it at
for
the
it.
end. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a beautiful cover. Have you seen the cover for the next one yet?
No, it hasn't been done yet. Just real quick, one thing I love about the cover is it really kind of does capture the heroine. She has short, what I like to call sharp hair, and she's the hunter in the story versus the man being the hunter in the story, and she's so dedicated to defeating her enemy. and so she can go back home to her family. She can't go back home until they're defeated. And so from the look of the heroine on there, you can just see sort of that same determination and sharpness to it, which I love. So yeah.
Yeah, I've had covers I've loved and covers I've hated. It's always much more fun when you love the cover that you got.
You know what? One thing though, I never said the name of this place.
What is it?
Mibble Art.
What is it?
The cover artists were named Mibble
yeah.
Art.
Mibble?
I didn't give their name after I was talking so nice
I
about
can't
them.
understand what you're saying though.
I didn't give the cover artist
But
name.
Mibble, what is it?
It's M-I-B-L Art.
M-I-B-L,
Mibble.
okay.
I don't know if that's a Ukrainian word, but I actually dedicated this book to him too. So if there's any indie authors out there, Mibble Art, I would recommend it.
So a question for Brian is, did you always know that you wanted to be an author? But it sounds like not.
No, I thought I was going to be a dancer.
Oh, yeah.
For the rest
So
of my
give us an
life.
example. Yes.
I wanted to do couples dancing when I was a kid. I knew right off the bat I didn't want to work in a stuffy office, and I wanted to be able to travel and see the world. I grew up from a very small town. I thought it was on top of a mountain until I found out mountains can be much higher than 2,000 feet.
Yeah.
And so I had no stoplight in our town. I had to go to high school in the neighboring town, and I just wanted to see the world. And I knew that I wanted to spend time with people. And I fell in love with dance, particularly a dance called West Coast Swing, so couples dancing, when I was about 14. And by the time I was 18, I was teaching private lessons and along with group classes, and I was traveling the United States, competing in competitions with my dance partner.
Fascinating.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
Are there YouTube videos?
No.
There needs to be a YouTube video,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll get one here at this event.
There could be.
We'll put that on Don to give us a dance video.
Well, you don't have to.
Yes, we do.
Anyway, and then I really kind of, I think this happens for men, particularly, or boys turning into men. You hit a certain age and you've grown up, or you're in that transition period of really about to be grown up. And I realized that though I love that world and that world is phenomenal, that's not where I wanted to raise a family. That's not where I want to spend the rest of my life. I'd love to go back. There are great people there. Dancing is phenomenal. There's magic in dancing, I think, and I believe. But writing called to me, and man, I picked up that phone and I just love it. I eat, sleep, and wake as a writer.
As a kid, like when you had to do composition or those kind of classes, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. Were you good at the writing aspects of it?
What's interesting is I have this sort of place where I consider myself, so yes, I'm a writer and I get that title, but it's more storytelling. I am terrible at spelling, at line edits. I am the worst. I hire amazing editors to edit my work before I send it into the publishing house, who has their own amazing editors who help me also. But what was interesting was in school, even though I was terrible at spelling and all that, they kept putting me in AP English classes. And I think it was because of the storytelling aspect and the connections I could tell there. So I was always I was very much drawn to it. And then of course, if my mom was here right now, she would say that, I was helping her from the time I could walk, basically. Obviously a little bit later, but she likes to, exaggerate.
Yeah.
And so she would always read me her stories at night. And if they got to the kissing scene, she would just say they kissed and move on. But the rest of it, she would read to us, and obviously tame down on any kind of violence or anything like that. And I loved it. And then she would ask what we thought.
Well, her first ones were vampires, weren't they? So
They
was
were
she
vampires.
reading you vampires?
She was reading me vampires, yeah.
I remember the first one I read of hers, I was on a plane, and I had just picked it up at a conference, and I'm like, oh, is anybody seeing me read? Because you felt like you were right there in the middle of it,
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah, she's definitely got an amazing gift, and it's been really fun to work with her and spend that much time in her worlds. By the way, vampires sometimes are considered horror.
Oh.
But they can also be romance novels. I'm just saying,
What
can we
genre
have a
there?
sci-fi horror romance novel in our future?
Sounds good.
He's put a tiny bit of romance in his from the ones that I've read, but not a lot.
The one I read, there was definitely a connection between the two characters.
So he wants you to
the young
embellish that.
doctor and the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just saying.
Well,
A little romance there.
I know you were always a good writer. You didn't believe me when you were younger, but I would always tell him when I would read his stuff, this is not what kids your age write. You know, I'm sure you remember.
I was always the dungeon master too in Dungeons and Dragons. So
that helped. Yeah, make up all the stories.
yeah.
Do you remember some of the earliest writing stuff you did?
Yeah, I remember some of it. I wrote like a Civil War thing, but that was for a class. They gave me that, so I kind of remember that story. And
Because it was always so good.
yeah, I remember some of them.
Maybe like Brian, not dead on with punctuation and spelling and whatnot.
No, I'm still not there quite. So.
But you know, that's the important part, like you said, is the storytelling, and you both have such great storytelling. It would always blow me away when he was a kid and I'd read something and think, holy cow, my kid did this, you know?
That's so cool.
The other two are decent writers too, but Jake, you can be a decent storyteller, but you also have to have what it takes to sit down and write the book.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's what my mom's favorite saying is like, writers write. And you, like, that's the discipline. You can do everything else in the world, but you got to sit down at the desk and just get it done.
Got to be able to sit down and write.
I have lots of people will tell me stories, but they don't actually go write it. So.
Oh yeah.
But doesn't it drive you nuts? I hate when people want to tell me their story. I don't want your story. I have so many stories in my head.
You
Do
have to
know
go
what I
write
mean?
it.
Oh yeah.
And somebody will come up to you, I have a story for you and I don't want to hear your story. Go write your story, get it published, and then maybe I'll read it. But until then, I don't want to know your story. That sounds mean, but you get hit with that a lot. You'll see.
Yeah.
You get hit with it a lot. I bet you do too, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My totally different world, but Michelle, she was in the plastics development where she would create products and actually sell them at Walmart and Costco, and that was literally what she did, was come up with new ideas. Her and her father would come up with new ideas and then design them and build them and partner up with a plastics company, and then they get them out to the stores. And everywhere she went at the trade shows, everybody would come up and be like, I have this idea. And so her father, who likes to give me make lots of jokes towards me, is always like, you know, a idea is nothing. It's everything else that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise it's just floating in the air, and that's fine, that's great. There's nothing wrong with a great idea, but you have to put in all of the work to actually make it into a product
Right.
that everybody else gets to touch.
Well, like you just said, vampire, romance, horror, that's an idea, but somebody's got to make that work.
Yeah.
You know? So before I completely lose my voice, the last question, tell us, you can go first, tell us what it is you're working on now and what will be the next one out.
Well, I'm working on books 10, 11, and 12. So, and this
Not
story.
simultaneously, I hope.
Well, I've got the concepts and the outlines and stuff in my head, but yeah, this was a sci-fi alternate universe where World War III is about to happen and aliens invade. So it's been an epic. It's almost done, and then on to something else.
So when's the next one out?
Ooh, I don't know.
Don't know yet.
A few months.
Okay. What
This
about
one
you?
just came out recent, so.
I just gotta say, I love hanging out with writers. Like the mind he has, I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. I gotta check that out. And then while I'm here, I'm like, I wonder if I could steal some ideas.
But you know, the thing is, if you did and then you wrote it and it was in your voice, it would be totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get when people say so-and-so took my idea. Ideas are everywhere. There are no original ideas.
Right.
You know, somebody gives you a kernel of a thought and then you make it something different.
Well, and like 400 pages, you better have a lot more than one idea. Because
Exactly.
it takes, like, every character's got to be their own idea, and then they need to come up with ideas during the book.
And it's the voice that matters and how you tell it.
Absolutely.
So are you working on a third book yet?
I'm
or?
working on the third book. We haven't decided on a name yet. I'm thinking about, I don't even want to lock it in, but Harmony of Faith is what
Oh,
I'm
that
thinking
sounds
about.
nice.
Yeah. And I really set it up through the first two books for this third book. And man, I'm in the brainstorming phase right now, and it's just fun. It's just really, really fun. And for me, it's incredibly challenging, which just makes it even more fun.
I mean, I feel so blessed to be a writer and get to do what I love. You guys feel the same way?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
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 Awesome. Well, thank you both for being here. Don's
Thank you.
signaling me. I think we're ready to wrap it up. It's been amazing. You'll have to come back sometime.
I
maybe
would
in your
love
own
to come
career,
back.
too. Yeah.
I'd love to come back.
When
I got to
we-
read your
when
whole
the book
series
is out.
too.
I'm looking forward
I
to it
love
too.
the first book.
Awesome.
So-
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.